what you did or what you're going to do. It's really about now.
It's an elimination race. Your back is against the wall.
It's the penultimate weekend of Sprint Cup Series racing as we get ready for first practice for the Sprint Cup Series from Phoenix International Raceway. Elimination race in front of 8 drivers. And already, take a look at Jimmie Johnson and Carl Edwards. 2 wins in the first 2 races of this round. That secures them a spot in the championship 4. Jimmie Johnson chasing history, trying to become just the 3rd driver ever to accumulate 7 championships in the Sprint Cup Series. And Carl Edwards still searching for his first ever championship. But he has solidified a spot in that championship 4 at Homestead Miami Speedway next weekend. But right now, the work at hand is trying to get around Phoenix. And at some point during this race and this weekend, we could see strategy come into play as far as with Jimmie Johnson or with Carl Edwards, because they're going to want to make it as difficult as possible for example, Kevin Harvick in the 4 to advance out of this round into the championship 4, because they know that he would be a very tough competitor when they get to next weekend in Miami. And of course, he is one of the toughest at this racetrack.
Yeah, so the question would be, how do you influence that? And that's win the race. You go out and win the race, and you keep somebody else from winning. If you feel like you can take someone out that you feel like is a tough competitor, the question is, I don't know how you evaluate that, because if you look at who's left, you have Logano, Kyle Busch, Kenseth, Hamlin, Harvick. I don't know that I want to race any of those guys.
Kurt Busch is still there. Yeah, I mean, you have so many drivers that are so good. And we mentioned this at the beginning of the chase, probably the greatest field of drivers in the chase that have continued to advance through that this sport has ever seen. So it's going to be a great battle, not only this weekend, but of course next weekend when the championship is determined, as Matt Kenseth makes his way out onto the track. Kenseth has been credited before for the reason that we have a chase and we have a different format, because Matt Kenseth won the championship back in 2003 in almost ho-hum fashion. He led the final 33 weeks in the point standings, had 1 win that year, went on to win the championship. He actually solidified the championship at this race at the end of the season in 2003, had enough points that he didn't even need to run in Miami. And that is when NASCAR looked at the situation, they looked at the format and said, let's make this a little more difficult than someone just having a great overall season. Let's make them perform at the end of the season. What are we going to see in this practice today, guys? Will it be mostly focused on qualifying for later this afternoon?
Well, one thing that makes Phoenix very difficult is just its location. It's out here in the desert. And I don't think they're really influenced when it was the older asphalt, but a few years ago they repaved this racetrack, and ever since then, Goodyear's been forced to bring a tough enough tire compound here. And it seems to take a little bit of time, Jeff. I'm not sure if it's the track that needs to come in. The dust and sand blowing around can be a little dirty. And I mean, in just a few minutes. We had Xfinity practice, but the track went red for a few minutes. It seems like that dust settles. It takes a little bit to get cleaned off. Or if it's just the driver getting reps reacclimated to this very unique shaped racetrack. It's not the crazy backstretch. I knew he wasn't going to say that.
And right away the driver said, it's not the driver.
Right, or does it just take laps to kind of reacclimate yourself with the unique shape of this racetrack?
Yeah, we just showed in the Xfinity Series, we showed a line graph of how it takes a while to get going, and actually sometimes they come out their second run, they actually run faster than the second run. We saw Kyle Busch going like an 11-lap run. His second to fastest lap was his 11th lap. So even this is a short track. I know it's 1 mile and they say it's not, but this is a short track. And this tire that they bring here because of the new pavement, it takes a little while to get it activated and make it get heat in it and make it perform.
This team has put themselves in a hole. Kurt Busch and the 41 team suffered a penalty a week ago at Texas, and it happened when Kurt got the free pass. And Steve, walk us through the rule here.
So basically, when you get the free pass, that means you were the first car scored 1 lap down, and you're allowed to basically get a free lap back. And then the 41 comes to pit road, they're allowed to do that. But there's a rule that says you're not allowed to add fuel on the second trip to pit road, and that's there for a specific reason. You're allowed to come in, service the car, change tires, whatever you want to do. But if you add fuel, it actually gives you an advantage. You have a lot more fuel than the teams that you're racing against. You're already starting at the tail of the field. That's why NASCAR implemented it. They didn't want a free lap plus an advantage on fuel. But 41 made that mistake, added fuel, and because of it, they had to give the lap back.
Because their finishing position now, Kurt Busch 34 points below the cut line. And that cut line is set by Kurt's younger brother, Kyle Busch, in the 18. He's currently 1 point ahead of the cut line. He is tied with Joey Logano for that number above the cut line.
What a fun racetrack as we watch Kyle Busch go around. This is a 1 mile with two completely distinct ends of the racetrack. As he enters turn 1, this is a very sharp, high banking corner. Tons of brake. Really turn the car hard. Accelerate early. This turn 2 opens up wide. This wall has been moved way out with the reconfiguration. Now you dive it down like a roller coaster. Back straightaway is crazy. I don't know who invented that. And then very, very flat into
You
turn
said
3.
straightaway, by the way. Is it straight?
Well, I don't know. It's something. And then this corner lasts forever. I mean, this corner is like New Hampshire. It lasts forever. And then it seems like you're getting the gas too early. Makes the car push, and then look how quickly this corner happens. You're moving, accelerating now off the corner wide open in the gas. So two completely different ends of the racetrack.
Mike Massaro.
And Rick, as Dave Burns alluded to at the top of this show, it's been a busy day for Kyle Busch already. He's had a 1 hour practice in the Xfinity Series garage. Went pretty smooth. He's top of the speed chart. Wouldn't be unexpected considering he has won here 9 times in the Xfinity Series. As for his car here in the Cup Series, well, that's got to be where the focus is. This could be, if he doesn't have a good race on Sunday, the last race of his title defense. So the team does not want to let down. They certainly want to go to Homestead and be able to defend their Sprint Cup Series crown. I spoke with crew chief Adam Stevens this morning. The plan for this particular practice is to stay in race trim most of the time, then switch over to qualifying trim. They want to ensure they've got a good race car on Sunday. Certainly qualifying is at a premium, but as Adam told me, he said, look, we don't want to sacrifice having a good car, good balance in the race, just so we start toward the front. And we're on the pole here in the spring, so they've got a pretty good baseline, I would think.
You mentioned premium. Track time is a premium. As we take a look back at Kyle Busch and the situation that he was in a year ago.
Yeah, you see right here, Ray Wall. Yeah, you have to park your car on your mark, Jeff. Right here, the 18's too close to the wall. You see the jackman there really fighting to pump the jack to get the car up.
And then in the spring, comes in and just crosses the line right there. They service the car. It'll be a penalty. They got the car backed up. So you see right here, he's got the front tires locked up. Everything looks good. Looks like he gets a stop, but then right when he releases the brake, it rolled forward right there underneath the jack, and that right there made it illegal. But smartly, they did not work on the car. They waited, so there wasn't a penalty.
So this first practice from Phoenix underway. The fastest so far on the racetrack has been the 18 and Kyle Busch.